Settle in and grab a book, a comfy chair, your favorite nook with Kate and Court. Yeah, it's the Cozy Corner.
Hi, I'm Kate.
And I'm Court. Welcome to Kate and Court's Cozy Corner Romance Readers.
This is a podcast for lovers of romance and romantasy novels who want to go on a deep dive into their favorite genre. Honest discussions and salacious details, giving romance books the respect they deserve. We are two friends, actors, moms, and romance readers who like a bit of spice and everything nice in their books.
As we like to say, you don't need spice for a book to be good. Well, you don't need running shoes to run, but they sure do help. Hi.
Welcome back to Kate and Court's Cozy Corner, Romance Readers. We are so excited to have you back with us today. And today we are talking about the book Bitten by Stephanie Gray. Yay! This is another werewolf book.
Yes, it is. Another one into the world of werewolves and paranormal romance. It's also another YA book. Which, to be honest, I didn't realize at first when I was reading it. But then I actually loved it so much that it's like, we should still cover this book, even though it was another YA romance book.
Yeah, well, because we've done YA romance. We have not done YA romantasy yet.
No, we have not. Which is its own thing and usually just tends to be less spicy and a little more surfacey. This goes into, but this book specifically, part of the reason I want to talk about it is because it is a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Forgetting. When people are upset about something. Controversial.
Oh, like controversial.
Yeah. Yes, controversial. Sorry, I just had a brain moment that I completely forgot the word. Yeah, because it has open door sex scene in it and the swearing and the general violence in it, a lot of people are complaining that it is put in the teen section instead of in the adult section. So there's a lot of people quite upset about it, that it's a teen book. Some are saying, like, it's aimed at 12-year-olds. Well, teen actually isn't 12. By definition, teen is 13, but still, I understand that there's that line. But then for me, it's still, aside from the fact it has sex in it, and she's 18 also. Yeah. Having sex, but it is written teen though. Like teen books only go so deep. Red Queen is also a teen YA romance. Red Queen, I would say, is very similar to this in its style and in its level of sex and profanity and violence. Like there are quite a few books still in teen that do have this, and it's not saying, like, hey, you have to read this if you're a teen by any means. You can still, dissuade teens from reading it if you don't want them to read this. But it's not a lone wolf in the teen section either. There are books like this in teen that have sex in them, that have violence. It's just a different style of writing it.
And there have been, like, for all of time. And I think this speaks to, like, immediately I'm thinking of Forever by Judy Blume, and there's sex in that book, and that's from way back when. But of course, then everyone was sort of up in arms about that. And then there are places where that is on a banned book list, right? Which is the best promotion ever for a book, in my opinion. But
I think so.
But also, I just think that's really interesting that that is something that we just still struggle with, like, teenagers. But also,
are we pretending 18-year-olds aren't thinking about, like, the 18? Like, are we pretending that teenagers
are we pretending
don't
15-year-olds, 16-year-olds
is that
aren't?
What we're,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That it's not there, and that they can't think about 18-year-olds having sex. I just don't think that exists. I don't think it's rational. And also, there are books. I mean, I think part of it is because Chloe Walsh was recently moved over to adult from teen. Because it used to just be whatever age the main characters were, that's kind of where the book went. And so Chloe Walsh is about teenagers, but it's very much like dark and sexually explicit and so she got moved to adult recently because they decided the content wasn't teen friendly. It's just more YA, which YA is young adult. But it doesn't have its own section. There's kind of like teen and then adult. So YA, if it's usually spicy or dark, it ends up going to adult. And same with Monica Murphy. I mean, she writes all about people that are high school seniors, but it is, I mean, I agree, it is an adult. It's dark, very spicy, sexy. Love Monica Murphy. She's a great read. But it definitely should live in the adult section. This book,
I don't think
I
this is
am
adult.
okay with it being a teen. Yeah, I think that the storyline and following it is very teen. Like, if you took out the fact that she had sex, it's a teen book. And I had sex as a
Absolutely.
teenager. So I don't think
Same.
that's, and not as a young teen, like normal teen with long-term boyfriend. Like, it's, and even if I did just do it on one off, that's also fine.
I just did it
Like,
on a
it
one-off.
doesn't,
I was 16. I was like, I gotta find out what all this noise is about. And not from books and everything that I was reading, like, myself, but just the world around me. And hello, adults, you're talking about
film,
it
TV.
all the time. Film, like everywhere. And
Yes.
it's natural, I think, at that age. I think what's ridiculous is to assume, just abstinence, and that's the only information you put out there, and that's the one size fits all solution for everybody, and that's the only good way. I mean, come on, like, get out with your puritanical BS. That's not
No.
healthy. That isn't naturally how we develop. And this is not to say that just because we can have babies, once we're like whatever, once you have your period, that you should, but it is to say that you have reached like a form of sexual maturity. Now, I also agree that there's ages of like consent, and like, like, no, that doesn't mean that like a 20-year-old should be with somebody who's like 16 or something like that, but like, teenagers with teenagers, and just like off and exploring, and it's this bridge between childhood and adulthood, and it is awkward, and it is difficult to talk about, and it is hard to know when to talk to your kids about sex, which is before they're a teenager, by the way, in my opinion.
Yes.
And but I don't think that hiding it from them, or saying that they can't read about it, or that, and especially this book and the way that it's all handled and everything, it's not doing a bunch of like wild, explicit things. So
yeah, exactly. It's a pretty tame version of it. And also, just because it exists, like, you don't have to read it. Like, I say this all the time. Parents, if you are worried about the content that your kids are reading, then you need to do your due diligence, just like you do with TV shows or movies, and know what things are about. Like, people assume just because it's in this age range that it's going to be aligning perfectly with their values. Well, no, there's authors, there's opinion. If you are worried, you owe it. But it's the same way. I have so many people that'll be like, we just want them reading, and they let their like 13-year-old pick up a new book talk book, which is an adult super spicy romance that I've had to step in and be like, hey, just so you know, this book is like full of open door sex scenes and is going dark, and like maybe not for a 12-year-old, but like, I also don't want to force my opinion on them. If they want their kids to be that way, then fine. But people don't. They just think book, that's better than TV show. And no, books are descriptive. Books are a fun time, and they can be very R-rated. So
they can.
Just because it's in a book does not mean it's innocent.
No, but you do get to go into like the characters' minds a lot and everything. And one of my favorite things with so far what we've been reading with romance and romantasy, is I have found a lot of it to be very empowering sexual messages towards women.
Yes.
And reinforcing consent culture and everything like that as well. So I think it's a relatively healthy, way to
I think it's
explore.
great.
Probably more so than visualized like with TV or something like that, because you're actually getting the internal monologue more often, and the things
you're hearing
that the
what they're
character is
going
struggling
through.
with.
Also, because I originally, when I first started kind of on my romance journey, when I was first, and also in book selling, and I was kind of like, oh no, like 16, 17 shouldn't be reading, Anna Huang or these super dirty, spicy, smutty books. And then I was like, well, wait, maybe we're actually would just be raising a whole generation of women that own their sexuality, that are comfortable calling people out on stuff, that are willing to ask for what they want, that understand what oral sex is, what fingering and hand jobs, and without just like word of mouth and people whispering about it in the hallways and trying to figure it out on movies. Like, maybe it'll actually allow women to have more ownership on their body if they're reading about this. I'm not saying at 12, but like in the later teen years, reading the adult romances, it can help develop the knowledge that's not there otherwise, that you're just picking up from what people around you are saying.
Yeah, and like twofold. One is, just because it's in the teen section doesn't, like, that teen goes from, 12, 13 to 18. Like, or 19 if you're going off the number. So, if it's in teen, like, I don't have a problem with a 14-year-old reading this book. I don't think there's anything, especially this one,
Yeah, I guess it's just if you want to pretend your 14-year-old's never heard about sex and doesn't know yet what it is. Like 14 is what, grade 8, grade
Well,
9?
then they should read this book and find out some things because, like, not knowing is much more harmful than knowing. And also finding out by reading through it is, even when it's like the spiciest sex scenes, there's so much more, God, what is the word? Because if you just think of like sometimes, like straight up porn that you come across, if you were just like Googling, is can do a lot of harm, because it's so fake and it's so excessive and it's so like, I don't know, just like the imagery is like, and some of it's great and as adults it's all fun and like go for it. But for like a young impressionable mind, but I find a lot of the stuff that you read, even when it's like a lot, is somehow way less than when it's performed on screen.
Yeah,
It
I get
somehow
way
is
more
just
uncomfortable watching it. I can read anything. I can go super dirty.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily want to watch that going. I think it's because you're hearing what they're thinking. I think that is the biggest part. That's what makes it intimate. And that's what makes the experience more enjoyable. As opposed to just watching and wondering if they're, I don't know, uncomfortable or just two actors.
Yeah,
It's different experience.
you get the emotional impact of sex when you're reading about it, when you're reading these characters, and when you're reading what they're going through and everything, which is really hard to teach children and teenagers about. But it's like a key element to sex and a key element to, like, I remember when my mom and I were talking about sex when I was younger, and she was like, well, here's like, the specifics. And she's like, the science and everything like that. And then she's like, here's the other thing you need to know. There's an emotional element. There's an attachment that you create with a person that you have no control over, that happens, that is very jarring and startling at first. You just kind of don't really see that coming. And can't really explain it without going through it. But in the books, you definitely get much more of a sense of what you're walking into, as far as the emotional impact of having sex with someone, and what that is going to be like for you, on the other side.
Yeah.
I think that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Okay.
agree.
All right. Well,
Okay.
all of this preamble, and we haven't even gotten to what the book is about. We know there's werewolves. We know there's some sex and controversy because there's teenagers. But Court, can you give us a little synopsis of Bitten by Stephanie Gray?
Yes. Okay. So it's about our female main character's name is Vanessa. She's a teen. I believe she's just about 18, or she is 18. She's either turning or she is. I can't remember. And her and her best friend are out at this party. Her best friend, where she's been acting weird, acting kind of off all week. And she follows her out. And basically, they get attacked by 2 werewolves. She gets bitten. And in this world, if you get bitten and you become a wolf, which is a forbidden thing in the wolf lore and culture, they bring you back to their castle, and you either have to swear your allegiance to the wolf queen or you're dead. That's the 2 options. And even that, the werewolves that bit her, they weren't even supposed to bite. You have to have permission from the queen to bite another person to turn them into a werewolf. And then if she gives permission, then you're supposed to join them. And if not, you're dead, basically.
Yes. And her best friend dies out on the street.
Yes. This is 2 of them on the street. They get attacked by these wolves. Her best friend dies. She survives and wakes up in this castle and is like, what is happening? She doesn't want to be there. She does not want to be a wolf. She's not given a choice. There is a prince, Sin, for Sinclair. He is the queen's son. He is going to be the future king. And he's engaged to this girl, basically her nemesis, Evie, who's been absolutely awful to her when she's joined this castle and tried to figure out what the world was about. And then there's Calyx, which is the cousin of the prince, but they're really like brothers. And he is in charge. He's the bodyguard of the prince and now her, and keeping her in line, and is like, you have 3 strike rules. If you break the rules, you're done. I will kill you. And it's basically her and the prince, then they start to fall for each other. And she gets to that point when we were talking about sex in this book. They end up together, even though he's sworn to be with Evie. He's like, but I can love you. And they have this relationship building. And then all hell breaks loose, and there's a big twist at the end that ends up happening.
Yeah.
Basically, that I won't say yet because we haven't gone fully to the end, but yes, it has a big twist and ends on a cliffhanger. And I was down for the ride in this book. I was in from the word go. Super fun, super fast read. And sexy and spicy. And yes, it is a teen book. So it wasn't like a deep sexy and spicy. Like I would probably put this at a 2.5 pumpkin if I was
like,
going
where
to
are you at?
rate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say 2.5 pumpkins.
2.5 pumpkins, which is also why it's like, what is everybody freaking out about?
Just that they had sex.
Pumpkins. Right.
No, it's just because they have sex and they swear. And there's violence, which
there is a lot of violence.
The first teen book.
No, but it's like werewolf violence.
Yeah,
so
it's paranormal. It's not like
it's paranormal.
Exactly. I forgive it when it's paranormal. I think bringing that paranormal violence into younger ages works.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's very different than if it was like, and even though it comes into their real world for a moment, and it, we're set first in like the real world with Vanessa and Celeste, and they go to this beach party, and then it is weird that these werewolves show up. It is like if you were to bump into a werewolf in the middle of your street, right?
Right.
But it's not until after that part that we're in the werewolf world that everything gets really violent. Like they're attacked and that's violent, but that's when the werewolves show up. Like now we're in paranormal violence, right?
Yes,
which
exactly
is different. Especially since this is very much so a romantasy and it's light and it like in that it's like it's not like it's exploring deep, dark, heavy themes. It's having fun. Telling a story. And then the actual, like when they're at the party and like the sort of fight and everything breaks out, like that's all pretty normal teenage behavior that's going on,
Yeah.
And there's like that girl fight moment, which is where she always has the thing against Evie because Evie kind of instigates the fight with Celeste.
Yes.
And we find out down the line that was done on purpose because I guess, and now we're going to have spoilers galore, but we're into it here now, folks. So if you don't want spoilers, stop here, read the book. But then we find out that, Edie and Sinclair and Calix, everyone who was there, they were there because I guess somehow, and this was what was not totally clear to me in the end, was who bit Celeste and how. Like, we didn't really get that. I guess it was supposed to be the other wolf being like the sister, but I'm like, how would she have gotten close to Celeste and have done that? I had this thought in my head that it was either Sinclair or Calix or like, well, obviously now we know it would have been Calix, but it was another guy who had maybe like at a party who had bitten Celeste. Like that was what I was thinking. And then we didn't really get that answer, but we did also end on a cliffhanger. So there will clearly be more and maybe we'll get that answer in the next book. But I thought that was really interesting. And it did then backfill a lot, because like it was so wild how they were just like ravaged out there on the street. And then
randomly attacked by two wolves. So they're at this party, they're hanging out, and then this girl says something to Vanessa, I can't remember, and then Celeste like reacts violently and starts a fight with who we come to learn is Evie. And even Vanessa is like, I've never seen my best friend react like this before. She's not a fighter.
She is. But then flip side, Celeste is so sassy and spicy and has like blue hair and is like, come on, Vanessa, come out and live a little and all this other stuff where I was kind of like, oh, okay. Like as we went through it the first time, I was like, well, this might be out of character, but also like sort of tracks. Like this girl's like, she's having a good time and she wants to like have fun. And she's all like, come on, we're 18 now. Like, let's just like, get out there and live. And so I was kind of like, oh, she's just not going to take any shit from anybody. Like it totally didn't throw me off as the reader. I was like, this is getting the character so far. Yeah. And then I thought maybe it was Evie swiping her.
It, right?
Yes.
Really, but because Vanessa is like, this isn't her normal way. Something's a little off. And that's what like helps her connect the dots later. I thought we found out that Celeste was turned by, I think it's one of the queens, the queen that comes at the end, the sister. I think because the reason the werewolves were at the beach is because they heard someone had been bitten and they were trying to find out who. So they were purposely trying to rile up all the humans to see if anyone reacted strongly, because when someone's bitten, and it usually takes a week, some of the side effects is that they get really angry and violent. And so they were trying to kind of suss out who that might be. And Celeste reveals herself to possibly be that person, which is why her and Vanessa get attacked on the street by two wolves a bit later. But Vanessa was supposed to be killed, but one of the wolves ended up saying he couldn't go through with it because there was something about her. It's kind of like that fated mate idea to a degree, but doesn't quite get into mates. But they couldn't go through with killing her. They bring her back. Yeah. She becomes a werewolf against her will. As most people probably would if they were becoming a werewolf. I don't know that many people that would be like, sign me up.
No. Yeah.
But once we're in the castle, because it is like an enemies to lovers, it's a forbidden romance, it's a paranormal romance, all of those great tropes. The tension that the author, Jordan Stephanie Gray, sorry, that Jordan writes, and between her and the love triangle of the two boys is so good and so on point with how teen love triangles are written, that to me, I'm like, oh, this is 100% a teen book. Like, this just makes sense to me because the way it's designed and how those love stories come to be, and it has that slow burn, it has the tension between them, and it has the conflict of, Sin adores her, but he's stuck being married to Evie. So in public, he has to be mean to her. He has to stand by Evie. He has to pretend he doesn't care. And then in private, he very much loves her, which is a trope we've seen many, many times. But I do think she brought a fresh angle to it. I really liked how she had them in this world and fighting against the were-lore. And Calix being so rule-stricken that he can't step out of line. Like, he is... The reason he tells her, like, you're 3 strikes, you're out, is because his mom was killed and murdered because she broke the rules and she turned a human, and she was cast out. And the worst thing for a wolf is to be cast out as a lone wolf. It kills them. They can't survive without their pack. And the agreement the mother made with the queen was that if she's casting her out, to let her unborn child still grow up as part of the pack. And the queen agrees. So Calix is grown up. So he's so afraid of stepping out of line that he lives in fear and is only like a black and white by the rules guy, which is what is in the way for him and Vanessa to ever be together for most of the book. Because
for most of the book. And then there's all the there's a little dark academia stuff that's going on too, because she has to learn, there's the ascension, is it called? That's going to happen. And so, I found all of that really interesting. And the love triangle in this was really good. I thought, because the whole time I was like, who should she choose? And I have to tell you, I really kept leaning towards Calix, even though he was like this rule bound thing. But because of that, the little bit of prologue that we got and the myth of how he grew up and just all the things that were coming in there. And there was something about Sinclair that I was like, don't really trust him. I was just like,
Isn't it weird? We always know which one they're supposed to be with. And I agree, it's totally Calix. Even though Swisson, it's the same thing happens in Red Queen. The same thing. Actually, you haven't read it yet, Kate. There's Jennifer Lynn Barnes has this awesome series in teen. And it's the Hawthorne Legacy series. But so many people think she picked the wrong brother. And not that the one she did pick, there's nothing wrong with him. But the other one is the one that you're naturally drawn to want her with. And this is the one series she ends up with the other one. And it was hard even for me to continue from that. Because many fans were all like, oh no, this was the wrong, she's supposed to be with the other one, the Calix. Because there's something that draws you. Somehow there's a reader intuition of oh no, but this is the endgame guy. Even though Sin was great, but Calix and
that was what was cool.
I think.
That's one of the things that was cool. Sin was not, not inherently bad, but on the flip side, he did dreamweave her. You know what I mean? He did manipulate her. He did manipulate her emotions, which I thought was good, and that was okay. But he did manipulate her experience and her understanding of what was going on, and he acted as if he was helping her, but he wasn't. Kind of got the same sort of feel actually from Direbound.
Exactly. I was totally going to compare it to Direbound that way. Yes.
Yeah. And it's oh, he seems like he's helping her. But then very quickly I was like, something's off. And it's always after you go to the dungeon with the guy and he sees what's happening too. And he's related to the royal who runs everything, but nothing really changes. And everyone's we'll slowly figure out how to fix this. And that's when I'm like, nope, he's in on it. Something.
We need men who take action.
There's just something very Machiavelli clearly going on. I'm you're not giving the full story to her right now. I just immediately, that's when I lose trust. And I'm like, this is the wrong guy. And then I think it's after that she has sex with him. And I'm like, oh no, it's the wrong guy. And I was like, are people mad at this because she had sex with the wrong guys? And you're like, no, just because they're sex.
just because they're sex. And honestly, even though it ends up being the wrong guy, it didn't make the sexual experience bad. He was still kind and sweet, and it was still a great first experience, even though, you gotta kiss a few frogs and find that prince or princess. Like, it's not always a one-hit wonder. For most, it's not, in fact.
For most.
And it doesn't have to take away, even though it's not her lifelong who she's destined to be with, it doesn't take away from that. Like,
yeah, I was like, this actually kind of mirrors.
Super hot.
Yeah. It sort of like mirrors the actual teen experience. I mean, like, there's the handful, who, like, I guess because you were saying, like you had sex with like your long-term boyfriend and all that stuff. And I didn't, I was just some guy. And like, there's both experiences out there, and it doesn't mean that it's that it's bad, either way. It's just like an experience. You're most likely not going to wind up with that person, like the first person you have sex with.
Well, I mean, I hope you don't. I hope you live life and aren't tied down to who you. I mean, it's great for people that do and that it works out and that you love each other. Fantastic. But most people meet people, live life, date around, see what's out there, find out.
Yeah. And as long as it's like a consensual experience, and everything like that, then it's not gonna, I mean, it's like my
also,
sex life
I don't
only
know
got
about
better.
it's also like an elephant in the room. Like at some point, even your routine, because it's such a part of our life and part of our culture. Like you just want to get it over with and know. You just want to know what this thing is.
That was me.
You
I was like, I just want to know what it's all about.
Let's get this. I was more nervous, I think, to give a blowjob the first time than sex the first time. Like blowjob felt like this bigger deal because people talk about being bad at it. That took me longer than to just have sex. Like,
yes,
because of the things around it. So I think the way that this happened, it happened with her, was a very natural way. And that
it was great. And even the build up, to it felt like teen sex. Yeah,
yes,
even the build up to it, though. I was like, oh, this is teenagers. Like I, like as we start, because I didn't really realize it was YA as we started it either, because it can still be teenagers and not be like, a teen book.
Like Monica
and
Murphy,
then as it went on, I was like, this is teen. Like
this is very teen. There's something to it that's teen, and I think that's that's a win for the author. Like she wrote it as a teen book and did it well, and she wrote teen relationships and teen sex lives well. Like and even
right up to the edge, which is so exciting. Yes, and right up to the edge of the line where you can take it, which is so exciting for the teen reader. That they get to go all the like to that edge, but it doesn't go past it. But I do think. Our kids are younger than this now, but you realize kind of pretty quickly, like, they're always reading books about or watching shows about the slightly older group, slightly older than they are. Like, that's what they're interested in because that's where they're going and they're trying to figure out what that looks like. And I think that's the case for this book, which I side with that it should be in teen because I think it is a great sort of like entry level of like, and then you're going to level up into this next. I don't think there's like so much going on that. And the paranormal violence, like they're biting off noses of wolves and stuff. I mean, it's like, it's so out there.
It's equal to Vampire Diaries for me. Honestly, if you're someone that likes reading Vampire Diaries, likes the show, this book is a hit for you. It's exactly in that world. I think it's a great book even for adults because it's a nice, when you want a bit of the romantasy, but you don't want to live in like a heavy world like you do when you jump into like Throne of Glass or Actor, like most romantasies, Alchemized, that like there's a weight to reading them because of the world building and how dark and dystopian things can be. This is a great book to jump into another world, to live in the paranormal, get a bit of spice, but not get the weight of it. It's a nice, easy, quick teen version of that you can just read. You could read it at a sports game. You could read it at kids' activities while you're sitting there on the bus, any of the above. And it's enjoyable. It's a quick read. It's an enjoyable one. And I was genuinely surprised by how much I liked it. I was like, oh, yeah. I'm totally in for this ride. Like this is great.
And also I think if you're wanting more like if you're just wanting more werewolf action, since werewolves, thanks to Ali Hazel, they're the sexiest thing in the world now.
I think that's why I read this. Like honestly, it was probably from Bride and Mate and Direbound, and I was like, give me more. I need more werewolves, and this is definitely the tamest one out of all those. But a great add-on when you're coming off reading Direbound and Mate and all of those. Bitten's a great one to jump into for sure. It's werewolf sex.
Yeah, it's lighter, it's teen. Like you're not going to get the same, hit as those ones, but you're going to scratch that itch a little further,
It's like
and then
fluffer.
Be like, okay.
This would be the fluffer for Dire Pound. As a Dire
Yeah.
Pound flipper. Yeah. And it's a great
Yeah.
one.
It is. And like Calyx is hot. Calyx is hot to me. Like I like his whole and so then when his eyes changed color, I was like, I knew it. I was just like, no, there's no way that he's not that he's a beta. I was like, he's definitely an alpha. What
He's got to be an alpha. And isn't it funny? If he didn't have that, he wouldn't be as attractive. You need that.
No,
when you're reading these werewolves, you need that alpha power for it to like go from like to like. Yeah.
It's
and as an adult reading it,
true.
I'm glad he's of age because I don't have to feel as gross. Do you put myself in the character's age? Like when I read these and I talk about book boyfriends reading it, like I put myself back to that age and I'm thinking of 18-year-old, 17-year-old Courtney looking at these guys, what I would think. I'm not. Yeah. I would never find an 18-year-old attractive now, but I can put myself back to that and live in that moment. And that's what I love about reading these books because they do take me back. Like I completely go back to that time in my life and what I thought and compare it to people I did know then and what Calyx would have been like. Well,
you kind of get
then.
to reimagine it as well. Like as someone, I didn't like high school, but I do really enjoy going back and reading these books sometimes. And it's like, ooh, and like you can like reimagine it a different way. It's not like I'm reliving like past trauma. It's kind of more like, oh, okay, this is like we can fantasize it up in this way or that way.
You've had
or like there's something really
fictional high school experience.
Yeah.
In that for your books. The fictional high school was fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, and it's like, I love it. It's so much fun. And I think some of the fun to it as well is just that there is a simplicity. Like there's not so many other layers going on that, you know, there's just less worry.
Yeah.
There are less taxing the brain, even for our fictional characters when it's 18. Than when it's an adult. Like, and sometimes it's nice. Yeah.
It's true. Because the stressors, the everyday, how much everything matters, it's totally different. And the people that write good teen books get that. They let their characters live in the worries that you have as a teenager versus as an adult surviving. So,
I mean, it's not to say like being a teenager is a lot. There's a lot of other things that are going, but you just don't have the weight of the adult world on you yet. You know, like you just don't. No. You're not worried about even if you live in a
mortgage.
Secure home as a teenager. You're still not. It's still not all on your shoulders. You know, like or it's not supposed to.
No, like whether or not this guy likes
you
is where your world lives. Does he like you or not? Does she like you or not? Does do they like you?
Do they like you or not?
Friends like you? Like that is pretty much what being a teenager is. And the few people figure it out early and figure out just being themselves and that it doesn't actually matter in the long runs. But that concern and that like her, even though she's in this werewolf castle and there's a lot happening that she's worrying about, her main thoughts go to Sin and Calyx. And that's exactly where
and her best friend who passed away. And that's like what she's like worrying about avenging her friend. Yeah. I also think it's really cool where things wind up with Evie in this too. You know, like they're totally enemies and against each other and all of that stuff. And then she does come to a point, and it's written out in the book and everything, where she's like, she's just a girl like me who's also like, her world is insecure and she's trying to just survive. She is not inherently evil, you know, which is what she kind of thinks for most of the book. So that was cool too, actually.
Yeah, it wasn't just girl hating girl just because there was actual like reasons behind it and experiences, and which is the reality in most cases. Like, I mean, like, since some people are just assholes. But most of the time when someone has a conflict with you, like, it's because of their own shit that they're trying to figure it out. And then when you can come to that agreement, like Evie does save face a lot near the end of the book and becomes a character we can like a lot more, which is great to see. It wasn't just female enemy. But it's a fun ride. It's all done in a really fun way. Like, it takes you on an adventure. You go with them. You're in the will she, won't she. You're in that first time experience and falling for a guy's charms. And then the big reveal and twist at the end, and then you want to read the second one. It's all done so well. Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Great add-on werewolf one. Yeah, that's why we talked about it. We only talk about things that we really liked reading. So it's a great add-on to go with our werewolf theme that we are wrapping up. this month
Right.
as we're moving into our holidays, into our holly jolly Christmas and Brimstone, which isn't a werewolf, but it's, you know, paranormal romantasy. Yes.
Yeah.
So good.
Coming up. Amazing.
Yes.
All right. Well, that is it for today's episode of Kate and Court's Cozy Corner Romance Readers, written by Jordan Stephanie Gray. Sorry. We love the book. We recommend it. We give it 2.5 pumpkins. Yes. It is teen. It is definitely a teen book. So if you're not in the mood for something teen, don't do it. If you are in the mood for something teen, go for it. If you have a teen in your life who you think it might be great for, we sign off on it being for teen, but yes, there is open door sex in the book.
There is.
This is paranormal, so that doesn't really.
It's fun. Listen, if you don't read teen, if you're a romantasy reader and you haven't tried teen, it's a good one to try. And if you like it, I would say this one and Red Queen are like, or if you've read Red Queen, you'll probably also enjoy this one. That's where I would put it. Powerless, like that same world. It's all in that same world, and it's good. It's great. There are some fantastic books in teen. Visit the teen section. It's great.
Right? Stop by the weekend. Go buy all the sections in the bookstore. All right. Thanks for joining us on Kate and Court's Cozy Corner Romance Readers. We'll be hanging with you again soon. Bye.
Settle in and grab a book, a comfy chair, your favorite nook with Kate and Court. Yeah, it's the Cozy Corner.
Thanks for tuning in to Kate and Court's Cozy Corner Romance Readers.
Executive producers and hosts, Caitlin Stryker and Courtney Richter. Producer, Kanesha No. Original music, Cassie DeSilva.